everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, a former award-winning stockbroker, television producer, scriptwriter, yoga instructor, and serial entrepreneur, now founder of the Epic Vision Zone. I'm here to help you fulfill your big dream by empowering you to create a vision that will supercharge your message, money, and mastery. Because what you say and why you say it is the key to achieving epic success on your own terms. That's why here at the Epic Vision Zone, we bring you some of the world's most influential people to inspire you to hit the go button on your epic life. A big thank you to everyone for being here today. B.K.S. Iyengar wrote, "Yoga does not just change the way we see things, it transforms the person who sees." Such is the story of today's guest, Katie Sampayo, who in 2014 discovered the transformative world of yoga, a practice that opened up her heart, mind, and body to a new life and a new way of being. In December of 2015, Katie left behind the corporate world to pursue her passion of helping others live a happy, healthy, and holistic life through personal training, group fitness classes, and luxury Thrive retreats. Today, Katie is the founder of Thrive Coaching, a high-level holistic health and life coaching program. She is the owner of Thrive Fitness and Adventure Retreats. She is a #1 best-selling author of Eat to Thrive, the Anti-Diet Cookbook. Sounds delicious. A certified personal trainer, 200-hour Ashtanga-Vinyasa yoga instructor, and a former TV show host of Eat Right, Live Well on ABC. Since 2018, Katie has been traveling the world full-time, living a life filled with adventure, connection, and transformational experiences. Her tagline, "Focus the mind, tone the body," conveys her philosophy on how to live a happy, healthy, and holistic life from the inside out. Welcome, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, thank you so much for that amazing introduction.
Well, you're so welcome. Thank you for doing what you do and having us share your story here on the Epic Vision Zone, because this is absolutely one of my favorite topics. So I can't wait to delve in, and I am so grateful for you being here. Tell us about your journey from a corporate job to becoming a successful entrepreneur.
Woo, man. That was quite the journey. So, like most people, right out of college, I went and did the traditional route of getting a corporate job, what everyone thinks is the path that we are meant to take. And I found myself very quickly not not loving it. Pretty much in a nutshell, I felt very disempowered there. I also noticed that the lifestyle that everyone in the office was living was very unhealthy. There was a lot of fast food, there was a lot of sitting around, there wasn't much encouragement to get up and to just live a healthy lifestyle. It was kind of sit at your desk, grind away, um, work overtime and do it and eat lunch at your desk and just really just get your work done without the balance of taking care of yourself being made a priority really at all. So what ended up happening was I've always been an athlete. I've always been super interested in playing sports and moving my body and being outside. And through college, I actually really learned how to start eating healthy. I didn't learn at home. It's something that I learned on my own when I was like, oh, I guess I got to learn how to cook for myself. And that's when I started to get creative in the kitchen and studying nutrition and all of that. It became just a really fun hobby of mine. But what I ended up doing was creating the first corporate wellness program at my corporate job. I spearheaded it myself because I saw that there was this big disconnect from the lifestyle that I wanted to live and that I knew would benefit everybody in this same situation as me. and it became my obsession. So I did it for free. I went to the CEO and I asked him for permission. I said, you don't have to pay me anything, but I want to start teaching boot camps after work, and I want to start teaching yoga classes, and I want to do healthy eating challenges, and really started to change the company culture where we did Spartan races and color races together every couple of months, and we had different recipes of the month in this magazine that we created for our employees, because I was in the marketing department. And that's really where I started to discover how that teaching people and helping people thrive, aka essentially live a life where they feel really good about their bodies, and their energy levels are different, and they just feel good, and like they feel in an elevated state because of how they're treating themselves. I was like, okay, this is actually what I'm meant to do. This is more where my focus is, and I'm not getting paid for it. So how can I learn how to get paid for it? And that's when the transition really started to happen, where at the time I wasn't certified. So I took my free time after work. So when I got off at 5 o'clock, and I started studying, and I went and got my bar certification, which is a mixture of yoga, Pilates, and ballet first. And I partnered up with one of the biggest local gyms, and I started teaching bar group fitness classes twice a week after work. And that's really where I started grinding with it. I got a free gym membership. I didn't make much money. I made, I think, $20 a class, something like that. But it was just getting my foot in the door. It was getting my confidence up. It was helping me to start to understand, okay, is this really what I want to do before I decide to jump full ship, onto this new career and leave the corporate world? And the answer kept becoming yes. Yeah, this is definitely what I love to do. And how can I continue to create this? So then I went and got my personal training certification, my TRX certification. And then the minute I got hired from that gym to work full time as a personal trainer and as a group fitness instructor, I quit my corporate job. And 1 month later, that's where I was. I was completely thrown in to the gym environment, just knowing what I knew, right? I wasn't an expert yet. And I made it my priority to just completely commit to this for a full 6 months. And I had some savings already that I could be fully supported with for 6 months in case something didn't work out, right? I had my little safety net because I've always been a good saver. And I just kept falling more in love with it. I was so determined to make this something that was thriving, not like a career where I was struggling and surviving, where I saw many trainers live that lifestyle where they were. And I luckily, with my marketing background, I thought a little bit different than the average person in the wellness industry. And I know for a fact that gave me a very unique perspective on how to create a real thriving business from this, and not just rely on exchanging time for money and relying on the gym to feed me clients and just doing sessions all the time. I knew there was more to it. I wanted to build an empire. I wanted to make a really big impact. I wanted to be part of the community. And I knew the gym was just a stepping stone. I don't like working for other people. I'm super independent. And it was just a great space to start, where the resources were already there. I had amazing trainers that I studied under. They were mentors for me. And within 3 months, I built up a full book of clientele and was one of the top trainers out of one of the biggest gyms in Maryland, actually, within 3 months of ever being in the industry. So, and I did that also because I had a blog, and I was doing boot camps in the park on my own, and I was really not just doing the normal traditional rules of, okay, go to the gym, just talk to clients at the gym, and just live your life at the gym. Like, no, there's more out there to be done in the world, in this community, which means I get to get out of the gym, get out of my comfort zone, and use my marketing tools that I learned through my corporate job and in college to really promote myself. And eventually that ended up ticking the gym off. I didn't like that. I was so fiercely independent. And that's when it was my time to leave, and everything just really built from that moment.
Right, right. No, I love that you dipped your toe in the water by first trying something in the office, and then you moved on from there to get a license and then start teaching. And so it was a move towards your passion, and you so enjoyed doing what you do. And I could see it, I can feel it even in your story, that that's what kept you motivated to continue growing. You know, even doing the, like you said, you did it for free at the beginning because you knew that this was something that you could lift up people, you know, and make them feel like you do, because you knew that that was the answer to, you know, like you said, the corporate world. But you use that knowledge, your marketing knowledge, basically, and put it to work for you in a realm that Katie and I just talked briefly beforehand. Typically is a realm in a business industry where the instructors don't make a lot of money. But what I love is that you moved outside of your comfort zone and you pushed the envelope because you knew that this was something that was your calling. So thank you for that story. That was wonderful. And it just goes to show that when you have the passion, when you have the fire, anything is possible. Because it didn't
Yeah.
feel like or seem like it was work to you. It was something that you just felt that in your soul you had to teach people so that they could live a life of feeling the way you felt, which I'm assuming I mean, you know, you may have felt lousy during the period when you were in the corporate world, and hence that's why you made the change. So I love that. Thank you so much. Well, what was your biggest fear in becoming an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it? I mean, you must have had some hesitation somewhere, was it or not?
Oh yeah, there's always fear when you're starting anything new and when you're going outside of what your comfort zone, right? Which is what essentially you're going outside of what you know. So, but my specific, I'm trying to think back. This is more than 10 years ago. What was that big fear that was really maybe holding me back? And I think it was just it was more than a fear. It was I guess it was, am I good enough? You know, it was that story, I would say. Am I really good enough to do this? Is this really going to work? And that is a fear that or a story, I like to call it a story, that I've had in different, well, other areas of my life as well, especially with relationships. And I was able to overcome it by taking action. That's the biggest way to overcome any fear, is to step right into it. Luckily, I'm a pretty high risk person. Even when I don't think I can do something, or I'm not sure if I'm good enough, or maybe it's, there's all the self doubt that can creep in. I it's just something about, honestly, who I am. I have this attitude that I'm just like, well, I'm just going to go for it anyways. I'm just going to go for it anyways. And what I've done with that is I've built this muscle up over the years where, yeah, not everything works out all the time. To this day, when I try something new in my business and I push myself to another level, there's plenty of times I still fall flat on my face and things don't work out the way that I want them to. And at this point in my life, I can laugh at it and I just take the lessons from it and I say, thank God I am falling flat on my face, because that means I'm doing it. That means that I'm putting myself into this zone where I am pushing myself to be better, to receive more, to give more, to build this life that I really, really want, and that's important to me, to make this impact that I really want. And if I'm not, now it's like almost as I'm not a little scared, if I'm not having any sort of fear, then I actually self-check myself, and I'm like, okay, well, are you just playing too safe? Are you playing too small? Are you just kind of getting stuck back in what you know? Because when I was able to push through this fear of, are you good enough, which that was actually rooted, now it's coming to me. I was extremely introverted and shy. So to be a fitness
Mm.
instructor, that
Yeah.
alone, I did it. I purposely did it to get over this fear of being in front of people and
Mm.
using my voice. It was really hard. I used to absolutely hate public speaking, and being a business major, that's all they make you do in school is give presentations in front of the class. And I literally felt like I would throw up all the time, and I would be talking really quiet, and stuttering and completely forgetting what I was going to say. And part of me becoming a fitness instructor was because I just knew that there was a lot that I wanted to share. There was a lot that I was passionate about. There was a lot of knowledge that I knew would make a big impact. And if I don't start speaking up and getting myself in front of people and just getting over it, then there's no way that I'm going to be happy with the life that I've lived, period. So what happens is when your passion and your desire is bigger than your fear, that is what allows you to step through it. If it's not big enough, then you're not going to probably move forward. The fear will keep you small. So it's really important when you want to overcome a fear, you really want to think about, well, what's the result that I'm going to receive when I overcome it? Like, why is this important? Like, how is this impacting me in all of the areas of my life from really receiving what I want? And until we're able to really understand that and make it bigger than ourselves and bigger than our fear, it can be hard. It can be really hard to take that step. And a lot of people don't think about it in that way. They just think, oh, I'm scared, and it's not okay, whatever. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. And then guess what, right? It never really happens, or it happens 20 years
Yeah.
later, and we're a little regretful.
Yeah, it's the reflection as well, and that I think comes from from yoga and teaching awareness. Because you said, I love that you said, you want to ask yourself, what is this fear doing to me in my life? Like, what is it holding me back from? It's that reflection that you ask yourself that question when you're not in that state of anxiety and nervousness, and it's hard to be in control of your fear when you're in it, but it is interesting when you talk to yourself and say, is this worth it? I need to move through it. And then it gives you that energy and it gives you that push to go through it, because you're absolutely right. When you teach a class, you are presenting in front of an audience, and I was the same way because I've been an instructor, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to, I mean, I had my class worked out, but you're still, you're giving people instructions on how to move their body. So there's a lot more involved too. And then, they're all looking at you for the next thing you're going to say. So, if you said stand on your head, they'd probably do it, but it's a lot of responsibility. So I completely understand. And I'm so glad that you gave us that little tidbit too about just sitting back and reflecting on what it's going to cost you not to move forward, because that's the future, right? So thank you so much for that. That was great. Yoga and its greatest gift, because you and I are very much in alignment with this practice. What would you say yoga's greatest gift has been to you, and why are you such a big fan?
Ooh, yoga changed my life, and I know it changed yours too in a very big way. And I actually started practicing yoga when I was going through a huge depression in my life. Like, one of the lowest times of my life that I can remember was when I went through this horrible breakup, just like a really bad, nasty breakup with, at the time, it was the longest relationship I'd ever been in. And it really, I was in a bad headspace. So what happened was, I saw this yoga challenge at this new studio down the street, where if you go to yoga for 10 days straight, you're going to win something. So you know what? I always like a challenge. So that's literally when I started. And yoga became the only time of day where I was able to get out of my head. I had so much anxiety. Like, I run anxious. When we talk about attachment styles, I'm more of an anxious attachment style. So I I wasn't able to stop thinking about all the things that I was upset about and how unhappy I was. And with yoga, I had peace. It gave me peace. That's the gift that it gave me. It gave me time to just connect with myself and to be out of my head and into my body and my heart, and in a way that I had never experienced or been able to access before that time. You're so focused on your breathing and what you're doing and your alignment and things that once I went through my yoga teacher training, it's about so much more than that now, but that's what it was for me at the time. And it honestly saved my life, I would say, because I was in a bad place and I was crying every day. I think I had lost 10 pounds. I've never been overweight. So I was like 95 pounds at that point. Like, bad, just because I was
Wow.
depressed.
Right.
That's it. When I get depressed, I lose my appetite. Um, so yoga gave me my life back, like my light, my inner light, and it helped me heal from a very, traumatic situation that I was going through at the time. And that's how it became such an important part of my life, and something that I really was excited to learn more about and to share with others, that maybe they're going through something similar and this is just what they need, this moment with themselves that will shift them, will shift their mindset, will shift their energy into a different place that is going to allow them to be alive again. So yeah, for
Yeah.
me, that's what it was.
Absolutely. I completely understand what you're saying because that's exactly what it did to me. And I do believe that a lot of it has to do with, like you said, you have to be present in class if you're going to be doing proper alignment, if you're going to be doing your poses. People often think that, oh, well, I have to be really bendy to do yoga. No, it's not a gymnastics class. It's about deconnecting the outer world to connect with your inner world. And that is so powerful because we are so influenced by our outer world that we forget that we have inner peace. There's always that inside that is there for us, but we have so much static happening around us all the time. It doesn't matter, the world, your family, your friends, your job, it just goes on and on. But when you learn to bring to silence that and bring yourself to center and just experience the space that we have within us, it completely opens everything. All the doors, like you said, the light goes on, the doors start to open, more creativity happens. Um, you just start to breathe. And that actually is a great segue into my next question because you have a holistic approach to your teachings, which I love. And it's centered on your philosophy of focus the mind, tone the body. Tell us more about that. I just touched a little bit on it, but it is so powerful. Give us some more insight into that.
Yeah, so what I realized when I started to invest in myself was the only thing that was really holding me back was my mindset. Like,
Mm,
period. It was where my mindset was at. It was the thoughts that I was thinking. It was the negative self talk. It was the disempowering stories that I created. It was based, that were all based on my experiences growing up. And that's when I started training clients, I understood that whatever was holding them back from achieving the results that they wanted wasn't wasn't the training, it wasn't the exercise, it wasn't even usually connected directly to the food they were eating. It was definitely a combination of all of those things. And at the top of it, it was definitely related to, well, where's their mindset at? Do they actually believe that this change is possible for them? Like, do
mm,
they really think that they can achieve this? Do they think that they deserve this? That's a big one. Like, do you think that you actually deserve to have
mm.
the lifestyle and the body and the health that you really want? Because a lot of people, in the conscious brain, on the, like, right there in the front, yes, they can say yes, I do. However, what's really happening is the subconscious brain is where the real juice is, and that's saying something else usually a lot of the time. So what I found was, for myself and for my clients, and to this day, what I do now with my Thrive coaching, we always dive deep into the mindset first before we look to upgrade anything external, because it all lies there. Because there's no way that we're going to tone our bodies, or have the best relationship with ourselves or with a significant other, or really live a life filled with purpose, making the money that we want to make, living where we want to live, all of those things. We're not able to achieve that until we focus our mind in the right way that's going to be in alignment with us achieving what we want. So that's
Mhm.
really how I created this tagline, because the mind gets to come first before we get that reward that we want with anything external.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you say that if you don't have the mind shift, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's really powerful. And I think, that's that is in itself is saying, wow, what do you do for, let's say, just give us an example or two of what practices you use to calm the mind or bring us to center, just so you could share with the audience some ideas they might be able to practice at home when they're in a state of anxiety or they just need to, de-stress.
Yeah. There's so many different tools that we have available just within ourselves, and one is by using our breath. Breath work is great to use our breath to control our emotions and to really help alleviate specifically anxiety. So there's different breath work techniques that I do for myself and that I teach in some of my coaching sessions. In general, it's just deep belly breathing. We always breathe from our chest, short, shallow breaths, which does not calm the nervous system down. It actually enhances anxiety. That's when we start to hyperventilate, for example. It's these short, 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 shallow breaths. So when we just take deep inhales through our nose, expanding our belly, maybe even doing a little bit of a breath hold, pulling the chin to the chest, and then we exhale, squeezing all of that air out, pulling that belly into the spine, you're instantly going to feel a little bit more relaxed. You can try it right now. You can actually change your state in a matter of a second. The other way that I train my clients to change their state, if they're in a state that's not serving them, maybe they're in a really bad mood, maybe they're anxious, is to physically move the body. So we can do that with breath, that's moving our body. And also it's great to get up and just do some form of movement. I love to dance. I start all of my coaching sessions off with a group dance party for one whole song. We get up, we move, we jump around, we get into playful energy, because even if you're in a bad mood before the call, if you're up and you're physically moving and you're smiling and you start to laugh, your state will change in the matter of that song, which could be 2 to 3 minutes. It doesn't need to take days for you to get out of your mood. We flow in and out of emotions all the time. It's like we get to choose which ones serve us and lean more into those ones and make those a priority to pull out, because they serve us on a higher level. So those are 2 ways. And then of course we have the traditional journaling, which some people absolutely love. I love to journal. However, I am definitely inconsistent with it. I'm not somebody who journals every day. My boyfriend is great at it. It's part of his solid routine. And for me, I'm a talker. I like to process my emotions by talking. That's just how I am. So that's how I train my clients too. If you're not a journaler, that's okay. Talk into your phone and leave yourself a voice message, and you can do journaling through audio. Like that's a way to do it. If it's really hard for you to sit down and look at a page and have that time like that, then I think either talking to somebody like a coach or a friend that you trust, or some people talk to their therapist, that's a form of processing and also changing our emotional states. And I think it's extremely important to just find a way to process your emotions that works for you. Those are just some ways. And meditating, right, is another one. And practicing yoga or playing a sport, swimming, bowling, I don't know, whatever it is that gets you out of your head. Yoga is that for us. Surfing is also very that for me. Snowboarding, when I play those sports, I'm in a different place,
Yeah.
a different mindset. I'm flowing with nature.
You definitely have to be present if you're going to be doing those surfing and snowboarding. If your mind were elsewhere, you'd be in a tree or smack on the beach, one or the other.
Yeah.
But that's often what I say about yoga is that if you're not present, you're not going to be doing that pose. But it's the same thing. If it's more challenging, then you will have to be more present, and that's the switch that you need to make. Almost, you have to really flip the switch to get from that anxiety or stressfulness into another mindset. So those are great tips. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you also for saying that if you're not a journaler, it's okay, because you do hear that that's one very big one. But I know a lot of individuals who really aren't into the writing thing, but it's okay. It's like I say to people, meditation doesn't always mean that you're sitting cross-legged and trying to shut down your mind. I mean, in doing that, you're actually making more noise. A meditation could be you're going for a jog. That could be your meditation. A meditation could be
Mhm.
you're going through a vinyasa flow. I mean, whatever brings you to that point of centeredness and you're connecting your mind and body, that also too can be a meditation. I love to brush my cat, my kitty cat, because she purrs when I brush her, and frankly it's like a meditation.
Yeah.
So meditation can be interpreted in so many different ways. Just like, I'm glad you brought up the thing with journaling, because so many of my friends, not so many, but a lot of them will say, I'm just not into that journaling thing. So okay, do something else. So just taking that and shifting it a little bit can make all the difference. So I have seen on your website this thing that you call macro calculator. I am totally
Yeah.
fascinated with that. So tell our audience what that is and how they can get it.
Yeah, so my macro calculator, macronutrient calculator, is actually connected to my cookbook. So I teach you exactly how to use it in the cookbook in case you guys are confused after I explain it a little bit now. There's a whole chapter on it. Now, what our macros are, they're pretty much extremely important numbers to know and understand if you're interested in losing weight, gaining weight, or staying the same weight. Okay, so that these numbers are the grams of protein that we eat every day, the grams of carbs, fats, and the amount of calories that we intake. So that those are our macronutrients. And it's very complicated to figure out these numbers by hand. So what I did is I created a calculator where you just answer a couple questions. It's based off of your age, your weight, your current activity level. So maybe if you're somebody who sits a lot at a desk all day, that's going to be pretty low. If you're somebody who's a hairdresser, for instance, you're probably standing up all day long, so it's going to be a little bit higher. And also your current activity level with your workouts. So are you currently working out 1 day a week for, a heavy amount of time, or sorry, a heavy amount of output. I'm like, what am I trying to say here? So all that stuff matters. And then from there, the calculator does all the stuff in the background that's very complicated, so you don't have to figure all that out, and it tells you what your numbers are, and it's all based on your goal, like I said. So you would also say in the calculator, I want to lose a little bit of weight, a little bit of fat, actually, specifically. So the numbers will cater to receiving that result. If you are looking to gain weight, for instance, a lot of men look to gain weight, or underweight women, and we're talking about muscle weight again, we're not talking about fat. Well, then it's important for us to understand these numbers, because a lot of people, hey man, when I was starting to write meal plans, a lot of people didn't understand that. Oh, well, I eat really healthy. I said, okay, well, how much are you eating? Like, track your food for a week. Let's take a look. And when I started to calculate what they were actually eating and how many calories they were actually consuming and how many grams of fat and all of that, yes, it was healthy food, and healthy, it doesn't matter, it was too much. Right? They were eating maybe 150 to 200 grams of fat because they were having like 2 whole avocados a day with all this other, all these so many nuts and seeds, and it just really added up, where they were getting really frustrated and they were feeling lost, or like, I'm feeling I'm doing all the things right and I'm eating healthy, so why am I not getting these results? And it was just because their macros were off, their macronutrients, what they were eating was too high for them to achieve the result that they wanted. So it's incredible information. I really teach it to not be intimidating, to mainly just use it as a guideline to give you a little more clarity as to, oh, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and this is based off my personalized number. It's not something that's a one size fit all at all. It's extremely unique, and I actually tell all my clients to run this calculator every single time that you have a major shift in your life, whether it's all of a sudden your activity level changes, or every year that you get a year older, it factors in your age. So we should definitely be changing that, or even just once a month. just check in with yourself. If your weight changes dramatically, then we're going to want to rerun those numbers to make them more accurate with where you're currently at. It's not a forever
Right.
thing. You keep up with it. As you progress and they change as well. So it's powerful. It's powerful information. It can, if you're confused with why something from a food standpoint and you feel like you're doing everything correct, that's the first thing I tell people to check and to look into, because they might just be either, well, actually what happens with women a lot of the time is they dramatically undereat, thinking that that's how they're going to lose weight. That's my story. That was my problem. I was way under eating. And once I
Yeah.
started eating about 400 more calories a day, which is about a full meal more, all of a sudden I got the body that I wanted. I was very sculpted. I felt super strong. I wasn't a beefcake, or anything like that, which a lot of women worry about. That's based off your genetics, how your muscles are going to grow. My genetics are not that, so it did not happen. However, I felt amazing, and not only did I look the best I've ever looked in my life, however, my energy was through the roof because I was actually eating the amount of calories that were necessary for me based on how active I was at the time. So that's why these numbers are so important, and it's a free calculator on my website, completely free. There's a specific tab for it at katiesampayo.com. Definitely check it out. And then my cookbook is the follow up to the calculator, because once we know our numbers, it can be very daunting to then figure out, well, how many calories are in my breakfast and how many grams of carbs and how do I add all this stuff up? So I created my cookbook with 50 recipes that I've already calculated the calories, the fats, the carbs, all of it for every single recipe, for every serving in the recipe, so that it's very easy to move forward and start to track a little bit so you understand what's going on.
Right. I that is a fabulous tool. Everybody needs to check out that macro calculator. I never would sit down and calculate and the grams and the this and the that and the protein. It's just, stick a needle in my eye. It's just too much work. but but I know how valuable it is. And one of the things that I caught was not only if you're looking for a ideal weight gain or loss, but also, like you said, it's important because of your energy level. It's important because of how you maybe sleep or not sleeping. It's important because of your inflammation, and is that adding to your joint pain? I mean, the value of that, and how you can, when you break it down, then you can really address the parts that are getting in your way, or where you can change it, so that, like you said, the food that you feed yourself also feeds. It's not filler, as I call it. Unfortunately, the fast food industry and a lot of our food today is what I call, it's not even food, it's filler. It's so that you feel full, but you're not really giving yourself any nutrition, which I would love you now to talk about your book, Eat Eating a Healthy Habit. How do we make eating a healthy habit? Because you are also a nutritionalist, correct? And I love the juxtaposition that you have, where you have the yoga and the training for the body and the mind, but then of course you need the fuel. Because if we don't feed ourselves properly, it doesn't matter how much exercise, it doesn't matter how much mindset we do, we will always feel something is off, correct? Because we
Yeah.
you know our we don't value the fuel that we feed ourselves. But if you have a sports car and you need to give it high octane gas, you'll do that because you value your car. But we don't value our bodies the same way. So tell us a little bit more about healthy eating habits and your book as well.
Yeah, of course. There it is. There's a book. So I wrote this book because when I was training people back in the day, I was noticing that one of the reasons why they were getting frustrated, they still weren't getting the results, is because what they were eating after our sessions was not in alignment with their goals. So I started writing individualized meal plans for my clients, and Wow, did that take me a lot of time? And it cost them a lot of money because it took me a lot of time and it really wasn't something that was accessible to everyone. And I feel like this information is so valuable. Every single person deserves to have access to it because it does change your life. That's literally why I wrote this book. That was my big why for why I wrote this book, was to make eating healthy, easy, fun, and accessible to every person on this planet. My book is only $30. It is literally a meal plan and a book. There are 12 chapters on nutrition and really easy to understand language. I wrote the book as I'm talking to you right now. It's not scientific, it's not boring, it's not wordy, and there's no fillers. I'm just telling you exactly what you need to understand if you want to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's why I wrote the book. I didn't want it to be intimidating to live a healthy lifestyle. I wanted it to be easy and fun. So in the book, you'll really learn, well, what does protein mean, and like what are all the myths that we hear about women having protein and what that can do to our bodies, and what's really a carb and what does that mean, and what are the good fats versus the bad fats, what's the truth already. We have so much confusing information online on social media from people that don't know what they're talking about. So when I wrote this book, I really pulled very high level studies. I mean, I'm not just making this stuff up. Everything in there is backed up by research as well. And again, I'm not telling you stuff that's not important. I'm just getting to the point so that you can take this knowledge and immediately implement it in your life to start changing your life. And there's even a little section on what to use to cook with, because that's the next question, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people maybe don't even know how to cook. It's not what they do. They go out to eat a lot. So we do get to buy some tools to get us started. So I have the most basic list of tools, and then the splurging ones. If you're like a more of a cooking connoisseur like myself, I have the fancier tools that you can buy too. I mean, it's literally, there's every single thing in there, so that you read the book, you go to the store, you buy every single thing to get yourself started, and you have a solid plan that'll last you for over a month. I mean, there's over 50 recipes in the book. Every recipe takes 30 minutes or less. That's the theme of the book, and it's also a completely gluten-free cookbook, by the way. I just kind of sneak that in there. And that's my way of sneaking it in by not telling
Yeah.
you up front.
I can't wait to get my hands on my copy, because I telling you, I love the fact that it, besides the recipes, which look incredible, it has all that information about the protein and, the carbs and the even the cooking utensils, like you said. I mean, unfortunately, there are a lot of toxic cooking utensils that we use, which are not good for us. So, but the information, it's knowledge, and we can use it or not, but at least then you're giving yourself a chance to understand that this is what it
Yes.
takes to live a healthy life, but also it's going to reward you in so many ways. I mean, it's, the weight thing is something that I find that our North American culture is obsessed with. Because in Europe, they've like, for Italy, for example, they eat pasta almost every day. Now they're not, as a population, as overweight as North Americans are, and it's mainly because of, we eat processed food. We eat food that is GMO or all kinds of other things. Too much. Like their pasta, their wheat isn't as processed as ours is, so it tends to be. If you're going to have pasta, it tends to be a little better. But yes, all this information is so useful, and what I love is that it helps us be a better person. It helps us enjoy life to the fullest, like you said, thrive. So what a great book. Like I said, I can't wait to get my copy on it, because I love eating healthy and I love to know what other things I can do. I mean, I've got these health bars that I make now, but I need more. I need to make more different ones. So thank you for that. And tell our audience, I love that you have free information for people to get started. So I downloaded this. This is your free download on your website. It's the ultimate guide to healthy snacking for the non-cook. and it's called Snacking 101. So just give our audience a quick peek into that, because I would say to everybody, go and download it.
Yeah, this is, I mean, who here is a snacker? I definitely have been a big snacker my whole life. And in the United States, like you said, we are really trained to buy all these unhealthy processed snacks that come from a box or a bag. And then even if it's labeled healthy, and maybe even it doesn't look like it's affecting our physical body. However, it definitely has long-term effects on our health, like cancers and diseases and inflammation and all the stuff that's running behind the scenes because of the preservatives that are pumped into the food. Because the food regulations, that's a whole different conversation in the United States, is not regulated really at all. So I am teaching you guys in this book how to create your own snacks out of real ingredients that you use in your kitchen, like that you will find at a farmer's market, at the grocery store, in the produce section, so that you actually feel really good about the snacks that you're eating. And on top of it, because I always like a challenge, because I heard too much, I don't have time, well, I just don't have time to make things for myself. Every snack can be made in 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less. And I believe there's over 21 snacks in this guide. So it's a fun download. It's to create a little challenge for you to be a little bit more creative in the kitchen and start to make your snacks not something that comes from a box, but something that you actually make for yourself that you feel really good about eating, and that adds a lot of value to who you are in your life because of the quality of the food that you're eating. And you still get to have your snack and not feel bad about it.
Yes, give yourself the 5 minutes. Your body is worth it. You have, I call them luxury retreats, because there are, several others that are doing retreats. But give our audience a little insight into your retreats.
Yeah. So these are high-end retreats. They're definitely, you're not sleeping in a tent out in the woods. You're sleeping in a multi-million-dollar private villa. That's usually beachfront. It's an incredible, unique house. Those are the kind of houses that I rent where when you're treated like a king or a queen, that's the point. You get to walk into an experience like this and completely be in touch with yourself and not all the little details and stresses that we might be used to handling on a daily basis in normal life and our normal situation. So these retreats are created to step you away from that into an experience where you are 100% being catered to and taken care of, so that when you leave an experience like this, you're elevated, you are in a different energetic space, you're flying, like soaring on cloud nine, so that when you go back into your normal life, you're able to show up in a different way. And a lot of people that come on these trips, I do a lot of high level Thrive coaching, so that's really focused on mindset. You could call it life coaching. I call it Thrive coaching because I'm all about thriving, and that's how I like to frame it. So we really dive into also, what are your goals in life? What are you working on right now? What's your intention for coming into an experience like this? They're by interview only and by application only, because it's really about the connections that we're fostering as well. You get to be vulnerable. You get to create friendships that are going to transform your life and make a big impact, because the quality of the conversation is very high level and very unique and very open. And those are the kinds of people that get to go on these kinds of trips. If somebody's closed-minded or closed off, well, you'll probably be denied because it's a certain space that we're creating. And also the health component, it's huge. Everybody is active. They're active experiences. We're practicing yoga every day. We're doing fitness boot camp classes. We're going on hikes. We're outside in nature every single day, experiencing what life, I believe, is all about, which is connecting to other beings besides ourselves, which is the people that we're on the trip with, and also Mother Nature, being outside and its vibrant energy. It really is transformative, that piece in itself. So we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone mentally, emotionally as well, because a lot of people come on these trips by themselves. They don't know anybody else. It's a bit maybe something that could be intimidating, you could say. And that's amazing because that means that we're going in the right direction. We're stepping into the unknown. We're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone a bit, and with exposing ourselves and being more vulnerable and connecting on new levels. And of course, the physical piece is definitely a challenge as well. We're doing some challenging hikes. We're being active every day. So it can push a lot of people out of their comfort zones with that too. But there's a balance. There's a balance because we have the yoga, and then we have some fun activities like our cooking class, where we're learning how to eat healthy and making some recipes from my cookbook. And we also have our fun activities like learning to surf and other things that are really local to the area that we're specifically traveling in. So that, again, when you leave an experience like this, it's so much more than just a fun trip. That's not what it's about. It's about personal growth. It's a direct investment in yourself. People leave these retreats creating huge shifts in their life when they get back. I offer private coaching at the trip. The quality of the people you get coached by everybody's there because everybody is just openly sharing what they're struggling with and what they're excited about in their life as well. And we really work together as a team to thrive, right? That's why they're called Thrive Retreats, to be happy in life, to understand, well, what does that mean for me? Because as we get older and go through different experiences, what we want, what makes us happy, that changes. That changes as we grow, and we're constantly thinking about it. We're constantly working on figuring out, well, what is it for me now? And that's what these trips provide you with, a space that's safe to really be able to go there and do that work, and not to feel like you've got to do it alone. You have a community to support you. This is what I do for a living. And that's why people come back every year, multiple times a year on these trips. And for over 5 years, we go all over the country, all over the world, and it's an incredible once in a lifetime experience.
Yes, I would say they are. I have taken a peek at your different retreats and locations. I encourage everyone to go to her website and check out the retreats. They sound absolutely fabulous. And what it feels like to me, Katie, is a recharging of your life or a
Mm-hmm.
booting up, depending on, like you said, if you're coming back. And I think that's why people do come back, is to recharge their batteries, because let's face it, there's a lot that goes on from year to year, especially these days. It's like, okay, now what's going to happen? But also it's if you're going for the first time, it's connecting with yourself and really getting that charge from the not just from the location and the experience, but the community, because we really are, human beings are meant to be in community. That's the way that we've thrived. If you put a human being out there all by themselves, well, I don't think our species would have survived, quite frankly. I mean, it would not have survived. But you very succinctly came to the next question, which was the results that you hope people walk away with from your services. And you mentioned a lot of that in the retreat, which I find is a very encompassing of all of what you offer. Meaning, like you said, you've got the cooking, you've got the hiking, the yoga. Was there anything else that you feel that you would say are the results that people will walk away with when they come into your world?
Yeah, well, I definitely have all of these amazing new connections in their life because I'm all about building aligned communities. Because I was a lone wolf. That's part of my story. I used to do everything on my own, and I was super disconnected from people without realizing it and without understanding how that really impacted my happiness
Mm.
deeply. And that's why I created these retreats. It was a big part of it. And that's also why I created my Thrive group coaching programs. They came after the retreats because people wanted to continue to have this high level of communication and community and goal setting and accountability in their life for more than maybe just the 5 days or a week that we were on one of these experiences. I'm sure if we all could go on like 7 retreats a year, we would. However, that's not really realistic for most people. So that's also why I created my coaching programs that follow up with the retreats, because we get to be and stay in that kind of elevated state every single day of our life. And it just takes setting up the right support system, the right coach, and the right action steps so that we're constantly creating movement in a forward direction. And that's what you can expect from working with me. We're going to continue to thrive and up level and learn how to flow with this crazy roller coaster called life that takes us on twists and turns and ups and downs. And I'll tell you right now, when you have a support system in place and you have a coach and you have a community and you have somebody to be there for to celebrate your epic wins with, and also to support you when something happens that throws you off, it completely changes your life. It changes your results. It's personally what's changed my entire life. I'm such a stand for these programs, for these communities, because I literally did everything on my own most of my life. And until I had this for myself, and I have 4 coaches right now. I'm in 3 major communities that I invest a lot of my time, energy, and money into for myself. There is no way I would be who I am today without that. And I'm a stand for everybody on this planet getting out of their way. That's the biggest thing. Getting out of your own way, getting these blocks uncovered and move to the side, stepping through the fears, breaking the negative patterns that you don't even know because they're called blind spots. You don't even understand what's probably getting in your way until you start to dive into the work and again, not do it alone. Okay, that's what makes the biggest difference, that your life really starts to change. It's not about something's wrong with you. I want to make that really clear. It's not about, oh, I'm broken and I want to be fixed. That's not what this is about. Investing in yourself with these programs, going on these trips, is nothing to do about that. It's all about you just uncovering what's truly possible for you and really stepping into your power as a human being on this planet and courageously moving through life with confidence, knowing that you've shown up 100% in every area. I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about your health and wellness, I'm talking about with your career, I'm talking about with your family, all that stuff that is connected. It's not disconnected. And I treat all these areas of life as the same because that's how we truly thrive. That's how we truly are happy. It's not when we're excelling in our career, but then our health and wellness absolutely sucks, or we're having problems in our marriage because we're so focused on making money, which was my problem for a while with relationships, that then I didn't create any time or space to connect with other people. Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what these programs do, they bring everything together so that we understand how to really design a lifestyle that's unique to yourself, that's going to allow you to receive whatever it is that you want. And that's a different answer for everybody.
Yes, that is so powerful. I mean, yeah, the whole package of the community and the knowledge that you share and the gifts that, because often there's movements and stuff that you can take with you and do at home. I mean, and being in that community will encourage you to keep going, to keep doing that, and to keep feeding yourself and your soul and your body what's healthy for it. I mean, it really, I'm signing up. I know. I was just saying to Katie in the green room, well, we call it the fake green room, but whatever. I was just like, oh, you're going to be in my neck of the woods. I said, I'm going to be checking out that one for sure. So, because boy, did they ever sound fantastic. And of course the exotic ones too. So yeah, Katie goes everywhere. So if you love the travel and you want it to be worthwhile, this is a great way to do it. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your future. So Katie wants to enroll you in your future. So don't miss out. That's what I say.
Yes.
Look, she's like, whoa, that's a big statement. But it's the
Oh, I
truth.
love it.
Yeah. So I can tell you're so passionate about that. So I am going to move on to a question that I ask every guest that's here. And it's because you're here on the Epic Vision Zone. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
My life is an epic story. I live a
Okay.
crazy
Because
life.
your life is an epic story, what would the title be?
Hmm. everything I do has the word thrive in it, and that's because I feel like that's what my life is. Thriving on all cylinders.
Mm, I like that.
That's my life.
I love it.
That's what it is. That's what I do.
Okay, that that
Yeah.
is I that's a visual. I love that. I could see the cylinders just smoking away. That's great. We could pass that peace pipe around while we're at it.
Yeah.
Well,
There we
anyway,
go.
yeah, for sure. Well, thank you again, Katie, for joining us today. Be sure to check out Katie's website at Katie. I'll spell her last name for you, Sampayo. It's SAMPAYO.com. And we will have all of her contact information and her book link on our bio pages at the Epic Vision Zone. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. And don't forget to reach out to me on janeapplegath.com, where you can also grab your free download, The Keys to Your Dreams. Looking forward to hearing from you. And this has been the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.